cannot steal children in America. It's very, very difficult. On the other hand, my mother-in-law is staying with us. She's very sick. There's no security on old people at all. If you want one, you can go to the hospital.
Yeah, but nobody wants an old person.
Nobody wants an old person.
Can you imagine, like, if I'm laying in a bed dying when I'm 80, and like a masked man comes in with a gun, he's like, "What do you got? Where's your good shit?" I'm like, "Oh, have you come to whisk me away? Thank God. Like, I'll go anywhere you say." Like it's got to be, anything would be better than that.
I really wish they could care for old people. Like, we've got a guest. Like, there's a mother-in-law suite we're not using. Let's go get some mother-in-laws.
Oh, I just had another one of those cringy, like, your shitty memory thing having to do with an old folks home. When I was like 7, I was with my mom at my great-grandpa's old folks home. And I was walking around the whole place all day. Man, looking back, those poor old people, they're all dead now, guaranteed. That was 20 years ago. But I walked around all day with my shirt like this over my nose and my mouth, looking around like I'd be like, "Oh, hey, Grandpa." And like at the time I was just a kid, so I was like, "God, it smells fucking weird in here." And so I was just covering my nose. And my mom had to keep telling me, like, "Taylor, that's incredibly rude. Stop." And it's like, "Oh yeah, you can smell it. You die too." Like no, I covered it up.
That's like when a man with a turban was standing behind my dad in line. And my sister like pulled his sweater and she was like, "Look, Dad, a genie." She's like 6 years old, so it's like, but my dad just like, "Shut the fuck up."
When I was 5, or no, I guess maybe even younger, like 4, I was at a daycare and my mom dropped me off and whatnot, and I was playing with all the other little kids. And when she came back to get me, she was like, "Did you have fun, Taylor?" We're walking out to the car. I was like, No, I don't want to leave. I want to go back in there and play with those little brown bears. She's like, "What? Those little brown bears?" And I'm like, "Yeah, those little brown bears right over there." And it was just 4 little black kids that I'd been playing with. And I thought
you're going to burn in hell,
bears.
You piece of shit.
Oh, I also, when I thought that the word lumpy meant ugly. And so I loudly shouted at a deformed man when I was 6 at a grocery store that he was a lumpy man. And my mom had to tell me, "Taylor, we're leaving." I didn't get well. I caused some problems for my mom. I was a leash kid. I got put on a leash in malls. Were any of you leash kids? You were, Harley?
No.
Did you have
I was
a
full
leash body
kid.
Leash, or did you have
I was
a
a
wrist
leash kid. Yeah, wrist leash. And I actually was notorious for breaking off the leash.
Me and you there. Yeah, the wrist leash the wrist leash was a one and done thing because it takes no effort at all for a little child to wriggle out of a wrist leash. It was when I went to the Black House White Market or fucking Nordstrom or whatever with a whole vest like I was going skydiving, it was like being a dog where I just start running and just get pulled back. They had to close a Macy's once because they had to keep a Macy's open because I was so dedicated to my hide and seek game of being inside one of those circular clothes things.
Oh, those were the best, man.
Yeah, I love hiding.
Get serious thinking done in those things.
You could get a lot done in those things.
I wonder how Taylor would have fared under my mom. Like, I don't think you'd have been a runner. She'd beat the hell out of someone. For that.
For those of you who don't know, Woody took some licks as a kid.
Oh man, yeah. I just. Like the thought of trying to get away from my mom in a mall scenario or something, like the consequences were too high. You wouldn't want that.
I did something once where I must have been 7. My brother was probably 5. Those wagons, like those play school wagons that you pull that like you see moms walking down the street and there's 2 kids in there. I took one of those and we had an enormous hill in my backyard when I was growing up and a giant willow tree popped right in the middle of it, but it was the only tree there, and the woods were hundreds of yards back. And so I told my brother we were gonna have a fun ride down the thing. What I didn't tell him is that I would not be joining him, and I was gonna tape him up so he couldn't get out. So I taped him. I taped his arms together, and the only thing you have to do as the older brother, because obviously if he resisted, even like 5 years and 7 years old, he would have escaped. All you have to do as the older brother is be like, "Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Can you believe it? Yeah, we're gonna have a good time." And then he was all taped up, and I remember standing there with my hand on this wagon, ready to push him down the hill to see what would happen, like on this, this fucking play school thing.
Oh.
And I hear my dad from the balcony behind me, Taylor, do not let go of that wagon. And I was like, and I hear immediately the telltale signs of an adult running quickly down the stairs. Boom, 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 boom. Like, all right, it is now or never. And so I let go of it. And
I did not know where this is going.
Yeah, and immediately it starts careening down this hill. Boom, 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 boom. Like my brother's bouncing up and down. And I hadn't aimed him that well. I was like, he's just gonna go straight into the middle of the fucking yard. What could possibly go wrong? He'll slow to a stop and be fine. I'm not gonna get spanked. No, I just let go of it, and he goes straight into that willow tree at
he hit it
20 miles an hour. Not 20. It was fucking quick, and he obviously not strapped in. Hits the tree.
Whoa,
bloodies his forehead. No. I taped him up. I didn't tape him into the wagon.
So he can't protect himself, basically.
Correct. Correct. It was hindsight's 20/20 on all this. I've had a lot of time to mature, but there was nothing more scary than seeing him hitting that tree and then turning around and being like, "Oh no, like that wasn't worth it."
Oh yeah,
and now he's here. And that was, I never taped anyone up and pushed them down a hill again. Will suffice it to say. But that was, oh man. Do you guys do stuff like that with siblings?
Yes, I have to go to the washroom, guys. Don't talk about anything interesting while I'm gone.
Okay, we won't.
No, I had a sister, so it was like a no hands policy. I don't know if I ever had to learn that, but there's a 5-year difference between us, so we're like
You're
different.
older?
But yeah, I'm older. So she always just seemed like a baby to me. I don't know. I remember when she was very small and couldn't speak. I never got to kick the shit out of a brother when I was a kid. Sounds like fun.
No, good times. But as long as you're the oldest.
Yeah.
Did you have like more of a protective instinct toward her at all, or were you not that kind of older brother of like, stay away from my girls, my little girl?
No. That's I was doing my own thing, and she's a tomboy, so my dad had the same plan as you, Woody, except she was down with it. She wanted to get into sports and do everything else too, so she was pretty well occupied, and she was always carrying a bat. So I don't think she needed